Imagine a chilling gust of wind sweeping across the American political landscape, not from a coming storm but from a whisper of the distant past, 30,000 years distant to be precise. Picture this. It's the dawn of 2025, and the familiar rhetoric of modern politics has been silenced, replaced by something utterly, impossibly different. Donald Trump, or whoever might inhabit the Oval Office, is gone. In his place sits an individual whose very presence defies every logical construct of time and civilization. A Native American chief, an elder from the Ice Age, plucked from a world where mammoths roamed and survival was a daily visceral struggle against the elements. This isn't a sci-fi fantasy about technological marvels. It's a thought experiment, a profound what-if designed to shake our perceptions to their core. His hands, once skilled in carving flint and tracking game across primeval landscapes, now rest on the polished mahogany of the resolute desk. His eyes, accustomed to the vast, untamed wilderness, gaze out at the dizzying lights of Washington, D.C., a city he could never have conceived. He speaks no English, understands no concept of nation-states, digital economies, or the very notion of a president. Every fibre of his being, every learned instinct, every ancestral memory screams in stark contrast to the buzzing, hyper-connected, complex tapestry of 21st century America. Yet, here he is. The initial shockwaves would be catastrophic. Global markets would freefall, constitutional crises would erupt, and the world would collectively gasp in disbelief. How could a man from the dawn of human civilization possibly lead the most powerful nation on Earth? The immediate instinctive answer is that it's an unmitigated disaster, a plunge into chaos. But what if we push past that initial logical conclusion? What if this isn't about him adapting to our world in a conventional sense, but about his ancient, deeply ingrained wisdom, a wisdom forged in the crucible of absolute necessity and profound connection to the earth, fundamentally reshaping our world? This isn't a tale of technological assimilation. It's a narrative of spiritual, philosophical, and societal re-evaluation. It's about the silent, profound challenge his very existence poses to our definitions of progress, power, and prosperity. What kind of changes would ripple outwards from such an impossible, yet utterly compelling premise? The answer, surprisingly, might not be one of collapse, but of a radical, transformative rebirth. The initial bewilderment would eventually yield to a nascent understanding, particularly when the chief's instinctive, unyielding reverence for the earth began to manifest in his leadership. Hailing from an era where humanity's survival was inextricably linked to the health and vitality of the natural world, he would perceive the rampant environmental degradation of 21st century America not as an abstract scientific problem or a debate point, but as an existential wound, a profound betrayal of life itself. His every fibre would recoil from the choked skies, the poisoned waters, and the ravaged landscapes he would witness. His policies would not be born from economic models or political compromises, but from a deep spiritual imperative to heal the earth. He would bypass the convoluted legislative processes, perhaps communicating through interpreters, not with complex bills, but with simple, powerful declarations born of primal truth. Imagine a presidential decree prioritizing the complete cessation of fossil fuel extraction, not over decades, but with a fierce urgency dictated by the Earth's suffering. He would initiate massive, unprecedented programs of reforestation and ecological restoration, viewing every barren tract of land as a desecration waiting to be mended. He might compel industries to adopt truly sustainable practices, not through complex regulations, but through a moral force that shamed polluters and celebrated those who lived in harmony with the land. Education would shift dramatically, focusing on indigenous ecological knowledge, teaching children from a young age how to cultivate a respectful and symbiotic relationship with nature. The very concept of ownership of land might be challenged, replaced by a stewardship model where humans are but temporary guardians. This wouldn't be a green movement. It would be a cultural and spiritual renaissance centered around our planet. The immediate economic shock would be immense, as industries reliant on extraction and waste would face existential threats. Yet in the long term, this radical reorientation would foster true resilience, building an economy rooted in regeneration, clean energy, and a profound respect for finite resources. He would inspire a generation to see themselves not as conquerors of nature, but as integral, humble threads in its vast, intricate tapestry. The air would begin to clear, the waters would run purer, and the land itself would sigh with relief under the guidance of a leader who remembered what it meant to truly belong to the earth. Beyond the profound shift in our relationship with the environment, the chief's most startling and transformative impact would be on the very fabric of American society itself, particularly in addressing the pervasive isolation and fragmentation that plague modern communities. In his ancient world, the survival of the individual was utterly dependent on the strength and cohesion of the group. Every hunt, every gathering, every child raised was a collective endeavour. Self-reliance, in the individualistic sense we understand it, was a foreign concept, superseded by the intrinsic understanding of interdependence. Upon witnessing the vast chasms of loneliness, the stark social divisions, and the atomization of families and neighbourhoods in 21st century America, his wisdom would instinctively seek to bridge these divides. He wouldn't propose complex social programs, but rather foster environments where genuine connection could flourish. Perhaps he would champion the revival of local community councils, not as political bodies, but as forums for shared problem-solving, mutual support, and communal celebration. He might encourage the establishment of gathering places in every neighbourhood, free from commercialism, where people could simply be together, sharing stories, skills, and silence. His emphasis would be on reciprocity and mutual aid, gently nudging society away from a transactional mindset towards one of collective responsibility for each other's well-being. Imagine an America where volunteerism soared, not out of obligation, but from a deep, felt sense of belonging. The epidemic of loneliness, the rising rates of mental health crises driven by isolation, would be confronted head-on by a leader who embodied the primal truth that humans are, at their core, communal beings. His presence would serve as a constant, gentle reminder that true strength lies not in individual achievement alone, but in the robust, supportive bonds that tie us all together. The focus would shift from what one owns to what one shares, from what one takes to what one gives. This profound reorientation would begin to heal the deep-seated social wounds, fostering an environment where empathy blossomed, compassion thrived, and the very concept of neighbour regained its deepest meaning, uniting communities that had long been fractured by political tribalism and economic disparity. The chief's innate perspective, uncorrupted by millennia of accumulating societal complexities, would offer a radical challenge to our deeply ingrained notions of progress and happiness. From his vantage point, a life consumed by endless acquisition, technological distraction, and a relentless, often joyless pursuit of material wealth would appear utterly bewildering, perhaps even tragic. His existence was defined by sufficiency, by meeting immediate needs, and by a profound appreciation for the simple rhythms of life and the inherent beauty of the natural world. He understood that true wealth lay in health, strong relationships, clean water, and fertile land, not in possessions or status symbols. Witnessing the pervasive stress, anxiety, and burnout in modern American society, driven by an insatiable consumer culture and an always-on digital existence, he would instinctively guide us towards a path of simplicity and inner peace. He wouldn't issue edicts on personal consumption, but his example and subtle influence would encourage a nationwide re-evaluation of what truly constitutes a good life. Perhaps he would champion national campaigns promoting mindfulness and connection with nature, not as hobbies, but as essential practices for mental and spiritual well-being. He might inspire a movement to reduce work hours, not to foster laziness, but to create more space for family, community, personal reflection, and engagement with the natural world. Imagine businesses beginning to prioritize employee well-being over endless profit margins, guided by a leader whose very presence redefines success. The pressure to keep up with the Joneses might dissipate, replaced by a quiet contentment in living within one's means and finding joy in non-material pursuits. He would teach us that true freedom isn't found in limitless choice, but in liberation from endless desire. This wouldn't be an economic recession. It would be a recession of unnecessary desires, freeing up mental and emotional energy for what genuinely enriches the human spirit. The chief would lead us not towards more, but towards enough, demonstrating that often less truly is more, and that genuine prosperity lies not in what we accumulate, but in the quality of our lives and the depth of our connections. In the hallowed halls of power, where modern leadership often devolves into intricate political maneuvering, strategic rhetoric, and the relentless pursuit of self-interest or partisan victory, the chief's presence would inject a profoundly different kind of wisdom into leadership. He would possess no understanding of parliamentary procedure, lobbying, or electoral cycles. His decisions would not be shaped by poll numbers, fundraising goals, or the intricate dance of legislative horse trading. Instead, his every action would be rooted in a deep, inherent sense of what is right, what is necessary for the collective good, and what honors the spirit of life itself. His communication, though perhaps translated, would be stripped of all artifice, devoid of spin or political calculation. He would speak directly from the heart, articulating fundamental truths about human responsibility, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the long-term well-being of the land and its people. Imagine a presidential address that isn't a policy speech, but a profound meditation on humanity's place in the cosmos, a humble acknowledgement of our shared vulnerability, and a call to collective action born not of fear, but of shared purpose. He would likely eschew grand ceremonies and opulent displays of power, preferring simplicity and direct engagement with the people, listening with an open heart rather than debating with a prepared agenda. His method of problem-solving would be less about finding a quick fix, and more about understanding the root cause, applying patience, observation, and an innate sense of balance. He wouldn't seek to dominate or control, but to guide, to foster equilibrium, and to remind people of their inherent dignity and their duty to each other and to the earth. His leadership would be an embodiment of moral authority, earned not through elections or titles, but through the profound wisdom emanating from his very being. This shift would compel other leaders, both domestic and international, to re-evaluate their own approaches, perhaps inspiring a global movement towards more ethical, principle-driven governance, where the true measure of a leader is not their political acumen, but their profound integrity and unwavering commitment to the greater good. The ripple effects of the chief's presence would extend far beyond America's borders, ushering in an unprecedented era of global diplomacy rooted in respect and genuine understanding. Current international relations are often characterized by complex power dynamics, economic leverage, and the shadow of historical grievances or strategic rivalries. From the chief's perspective, these intricate dances would seem profoundly illogical, if not outright dangerous. His world knew no borders in the modern sense, only territories used and respected by different tribes, with conflicts often resolved through direct communication, mediation, or shared understanding of vital resources. He wouldn't engage in traditional statecraft, but his sheer authenticity would disarm even the most hardened diplomats. Imagine heads of state accustomed to intricate negotiations suddenly confronted by a leader whose only agenda is peace, mutual respect, and the well-being of all humanity and the earth. He might bypass formal protocols to engage directly with leaders, appealing to their shared humanity, reminding them of the fundamental interconnectedness of all nations and the common destiny of our species on this planet. He would instinctively champion dialogue over aggression, emphasizing the need for understanding different perspectives rather than imposing one's own. Treaties would not be about advantage, but about collective benefit and shared responsibility. His influence could inspire a paradigm shift in international aid, moving away from conditional assistance to genuine partnerships built on mutual support and respect for local cultures and knowledge. The pervasive fear of the other that fuels so many global conflicts might begin to dissipate under the unwavering gaze of a leader who sees all people as part of the same human family, sharing the same sun and breathing the same air. This isn't naive idealism, it's a profound ancient pragmatism that understands peace is the ultimate foundation for sustainable existence, a concept deeply ingrained in his very being. He would demonstrate that true global power lies not in military might or economic dominance, but in the capacity for empathy, collaboration, and a shared vision for a harmonious world. Ultimately, the most profound and lasting legacy of a chief from 30,000 years ago leading America in 2025 wouldn't be a specific policy or a singular legislative achievement, but a fundamental shift in human consciousness. His tenure, however long or brief, would serve as a powerful living parable for the modern world, a stark reminder of what we might have lost and what we still have the capacity to regain. He would force humanity to confront its accelerating pace, its rampant consumption, its profound disconnection from the natural world, and its often hollow pursuit of material progress. His very existence in the White House would be a mirror held up to our souls, reflecting the forgotten wisdom of our primal ancestors. The enduring impact wouldn't be a return to the Ice Age, but a re-evaluation of our values and priorities. People would be inspired to reconnect with their local environments, to foster stronger bonds within their communities, to simplify their lives, and to seek fulfillment in intrinsic rather than extrinsic rewards. The cultural narrative of endless growth and individualistic striving might give way to one of balance, collective well-being, and respect for the finite resources of our planet. This elder, a ghost from humanity's dawn, would become a living symbol of the Earth's resilience and the enduring power of ancient wisdom. He would teach us that true strength lies not in technological prowess or economic might, but in humility, harmony, and a profound reverence for all life. His leadership would highlight that the solutions to our most pressing 21st century challenges might not lie in more complexity, more technology, or more power, but in a profound simplification, a return to core human values, and a rediscovery of our place within the grand interconnected web of life. It's a vision not of regression, but of a reimagined future, built on the enduring truths of our shared past, a future where humanity lives in balance with itself and its planetary home.